Yep, we need to count our final days as the US has found world-ending violent giant creatures buried underneath Antarctica.
We're not supposed to see this.
I've had 3 attempts on my life, and I don't know if I'll walk away from this meeting if I say any more.
And he took planes into the south, under the South Pole, and when he did that, he discovered that
Exploration flight over the North Pole, the inner Earth, my secret diary.
Welcome to Stranger Chaos. Tonight we're diving into 3 main places. We're going to Antarctica, Alaska, and Siberia. Why? Because there are giants in Siberia, monsters, and in Antarctica. There are ancient civilizations in Antarctica, and we're going to be diving into Alaska Triangle. Also, Admiral Byrd Diaries. This will be a crazy episode. Stay with me and question everything you think you know. Welcome to Stranger Chaos.
Video is going viral right now, and I'm not talking about this intro clip of the ice wall or Antarctica. I'm talking about a video from the 50s of Antarctica and them flying over it and seeing other
Unger leans forward in amazement. His eyes have caught a sudden and unbelievable change in scenery. The universal white has turned to chocolate brown, dotted with blue. A cameraman goes into action. 300 square miles of land without snow. Land that might be in New Mexico or Arizona. Pictures alone will prove Unger has discovered a warm oasis in the shadow of the pole. It is for such supreme moments as this that men brave the hardships of exploration. The astounding, undreamed of fact is that they are over a chain of warm water lakes, whose shores, except for small patches, are free of ice and snow. Commander Unger circles the largest lake in sight, 5 miles long. He comes in to make a landing. Water temperatures must be recorded. Samples taken. He finds the water fresh. Temperature 38 degrees Fahrenheit. On the shores are vast deposits of coal and of minerals of the utmost importance to civilization. Mountain ranges with peaks 20,000 feet above sea level.
This video.
Anybody who wants to know about Antarctica, consider a couple of facts. That treaty, there's not one nation in the world that says, no, we want to explore Antarctica. The biggest military expedition in the history of the world was funded, and Admiral Byrd was the top man. Then he ends up getting a radio signal, but it's not from the command center. It is from an unidentified being. He also ends up seeing 2 UFOs that are not using any understood means of propulsion.
A good point. The nations of the world hardly agree on anything, but there's one thing they agree on. Oh, you can't go to Antarctica. Strange. Now I can't say what is and what isn't there, because duh, I've never been to Antarctica. But one thing I definitely know is something is being hidden there. Something they don't want the public to see.
Now before we go on, he brings up an interesting point. Why can't we go to Antarctica? Why is it restricted to fly over Antarctica? And also, why is there a treaty? You see that word war, right? Everyone is at war with each other, but yet they agree on one thing. No one is allowed to explore Antarctica.
August 1946, Admiral Richard Byrd organizes Operation High Jump, the largest expedition ever to travel to Antarctica.
by the end of February, something happened. There was an entrance to the center of the Earth through the South Pole, and he took planes into the south, under the South Pole. And when he did that, he discovered that as he flew over the pole, suddenly he's looking at things that shouldn't be there. His squadron flew under the Earth, into the Earth.
That turns into this lush and green area, and he can't even believe his eyes. He tells how all of a sudden he starts to see a shimmering rainbow city that's made of crystal. His airplane is taken control of when he suddenly sees these flying disc-shaped objects around them that lead him to the ground, whereupon he's escorted into a cavernous type of an area where he meets a being he refers to as the Master in his diary. The Master tells him that they're highly disappointed in what humans are doing with nuclear weapons and how they've recently destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they really are concerned about what is going on the surface of the planet. They tell Admiral Byrd that they hope that humanity will ultimately stop this. They're very concerned that we are ultimately not just going to destroy ourselves, but could harm our planet, which is their world as well.
Could Admiral Byrd's story point to a profound connection between the ancient traditions of strange beings living inside the Earth and the modern-day UFO phenomenon? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, and believe we may be fast approaching the time when we will find ourselves face-to-face with the beings of inner Earth.
How long have you people known about these other human species, okay? These people deserve the truth, buddy, and I'm gonna give it to them.
Look, man, during my time in at the agency, there was research on what was known as Region 8, right? Full of all these derivative human species, undocumented land masses, okay? One of which was known as Panthea, right? Rock-textured terrain far outside of the parameters of sunlight, okay? And inhabited by a species with biological adaptations so unorthodox that we had them flagged as the most dangerous specimen on the planet.
What kind of adaptations we talking?
The lack of sunlight in this region had basically given them daytime level visibility in the darkest of night, okay? Biokinetic abilities, their electromagnetic output is so disproportionate to other organisms, it allows them to take control of other entities' central nervous systems simply through eye contact, okay?
I mean, you're scaring me here, man.
Yeah, man, I should be, because back in the late 90s, we ran an extraction operation to capture and...
Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, he flew 1,200 miles with the wind in his back into the inside of this planet. Not a molten core, far from it. Continental shells bigger than on the surface, seas that were equal to ours, and he took 300 photographs and brought them back, and I tried to see them, and Franklin Birch, who was at the National Archives, would not let me in. Oh, I got in the cage, but I couldn't look at anything. Caldwell found those records and read them in 1940, and he took his round-wing plane in and went right through the Earth and came out at the South Pole in a 125-mile opening there. That's one thing he did. I told you that was 1940. That was a great accomplishment of the round-wing plane at that point. We hadn't had to fight a war. We hadn't had to do anything. 1952, I hesitate to tell you. I've had 3 attempts on my life, and I don't know if I'll walk away from this meeting if I say any more. I've had the needle, I've been poisoned, and I've had people sent to kill me.
The land beyond the poles. The exploration flight over the North Pole. The inner Earth. My secret diary. I must write this diary in secrecy and obscurity. It concerns my Arctic flight of the 19th day of February in the year of 1947. There comes a time when the rationality of men must fade into insignificance, and one must accept the inevitability of the truth. I am not at liberty to disclose the following documentation at this writing. Perhaps it shall never see the light of public scrutiny. But I must do my duty and record here for all to read one day. In a world of greed and exploitation of certain of mankind, one can no longer suppress that which is truth. Flight log, Base Camp Arctic. February 19th, 1947. 0600 hours. All preparations are complete for our flight northward, and we are airborne with full fuel tanks at 0610 hours. 0910 hours. Vast ice and snow below. 0915 hours. In the distance is what appears to be mountains. 1000 hours. We are crossing over the small mountain range and still proceeding northward as best as can be ascertained. Beyond the mountain range is what appears to be a valley with a small river or stream running through the center portion. There should be no green valley below. Something is definitely wrong and abnormal here. We should be over ice and snow. To the port side are great forests growing on the mountain slopes. Our navigation instruments are still spinning. The gyroscope is oscillating back and forth. 10:05 hours. I alter altitude to 1400 feet and execute a sharp left turn to better examine the valley below. It is green with either moss or a type of tight-knit grass. The light here seems different. I cannot see the sun anymore. We make another left turn and we spot what seems to be a large animal of some kind below us. It appears to be an elephant. No, it looks more like a mammoth. This is incredible, yet there it is. Decrease altitude to 1,000 feet and take binoculars to better examine the animal. It is confirmed. It is definitely a mammoth-like animal. Report this to base camp. 10:30 hours. The external temperature indicator reads 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Continuing on our heading now.
Now this is where it starts getting interesting, because now we start diving into flat Earth and civilizations behind the ice wall. Honestly, I would love to go behind the ice wall. I would love to see what's there. I would love to visit the civilizations. Have any of you ever seen Stargate? That movie with Kurt Russell. Yo, I love that movie. I've always wanted to go to a Stargate, but that's a different podcast. Stargate is coming, and why we went to Iraq, and then we're going to remake 9/11. Those are future episodes. But let's keep diving down in Antarctica because it gets wild, really wild from here.
Wait, so the world is way bigger than we think?
Exactly. In outer space, that whole idea was made to trap our minds, keep us inside an invisible prison.
How would that even work?
Millennia ago, Richard Constantine, part of the ruling Primordium families from lands beyond the ice wall, discovered the continents we now call Earth. 7 massive lands, untouched, empty. But he didn't see them as places to explore. He saw the perfect containment zone, a world to populate, control, dominate for generations.
Containment zones? Like mind control?
Exactly. Richard invented the cosmic paradox, a psychological and geometric trick so massive it warped reality. He convinced everyone the ice wall wasn't a wall, just the bottom of a sphere, and the sky above was everything.
So the universe we see is engineered?
Not fake, just designed. Using celestial engineering, the Primordium families made us believe in an infinite universe.
So you're saying none of us are actually from Earth?
Not the Earth you think you know. The 7 continents we live on aren't our birthplace. They're a containment zone, a prison sealed off by the ice wall.
A prison for who?
For us. We're descendants of people who once lived beyond the wall, civilizations so advanced and defiant they couldn't be controlled. So long ago, someone made a decision: isolate them. Populate these continents with carefully selected descendants, erase their memories, erase their origins.
You're saying we are not natives here?
Exactly. We were placed here. Richard Constantine orchestrated what's called the Great Placement. He found these untouched lands inside the ice wall and realized they could serve as...
That last clip I played for you in episode 2, but that was just scratching the surface.
We found the ice wall. Check this out.
We're not supposed to see this. We're not supposed to see this.
Alright, so before y'all go crazy in the comments that it's restricted to go flying over the Antarctica, what if it's not? What if there are like people that are flying there, capturing footage and leaking it? A lot of you think it's AI. I know, it's crazy. The age that we live in, AI has taken over. Nothing we can believe with our eyes. But again, what if that was all part of the deception? To deceive the masses. Project Bluebeam. Yo, we're going to dive into that soon. And now we have AI making all these, videos of strange things occurring. User discernment in these crazy, deceptive, strange times. Alright, with that being said, what do you know about the giants of Antarctica? Did you know that Antarctica had giants and they found remains?
Yeah, we need to count our final days as the US has found world-ending violent giant creatures buried underneath Antarctica, and it's not only coming up, but we won't survive it. People were terrified after classified military expeditions allegedly uncovered remains of beings standing over 18 feet tall beneath thousands of feet of ice, with the Book of Enoch warning that fallen angels and their giant offsprings were imprisoned in frozen dark abyss until the day of judgment, and that day may already be here, as haunting thermal scans are allegedly showing heat signatures moving beneath the ice where nothing should be alive, with multiple world leaders and military officials making emergency visits to Antarctica, and no one knows why, with Jude 1:6 warning that the angels who abandoned their home are being kept in eternal chains under darkness for great judgment, and what's beneath that ice is matching the Bible word for word. But it gets much stranger, as ancient Sumerians, Native Americans, and Polynesian cultures all describe giants being imprisoned beneath the ice at the bottom of the world, just like this.
This one right here looks pretty wild. That looks like a face.
But what do you believe?
Special forces encountered giants in Antarctica. You heard it here first. It was the early 2000s, right around the same time as the Kandahar Giant, when a team of Navy SEALs was called to Antarctica. Their mission was to plunge deep into the ice shelf and explore ruins recently discovered by ground-penetrating radar. Upon arrival at the site, they would begin their descent down a large pre-drilled hole that would open up into a cavern. As soon as their boots hit the ground, they would quickly realize the cavern was actually a massive megalithic structure. The structures were thousands of years old, and they believed them to be built by the ancient builder race, the same ones that built the pyramids. Amazed, they began exploring, eventually stumbling upon a large door. One of the SEALs would approach the door and touch it with his hand. To their surprise, it began shifting, almost as if powered by anti-gravity. The 30-foot door would move back and to the side, letting them into the corridor. In utter disbelief, they decide to split up into groups of two. They cautiously make their way around the room, noticing hieroglyphs of which they'd never seen before. As they sweep the area, senses heightened, one of the men yells, "Guys, come look at this!" As the rest of the team approaches this portion of the structure, they instantly notice the super advanced tech, and their comrades staring at a large crystal chamber. They brush a layer of frost off that has accumulated over thousands of years. And inside, they see it. It's approximately 14 to 16 feet tall. Its massive frame towering over the men. Its eyes still open with a fierce look on its face, almost as if it's staring at them. The warm blood running through their veins turns cold. As it is said, when a soldier first experiences these beings, it changes them. They will never be the same, but some take it better than others. It is reported that some soldiers lose their head completely upon sight. They simply cannot handle it. They have to back out. Others' hair has turned completely gray in an instant. They are simply that afraid. As they're pondering over what they're looking at, one of the soldiers says, "Guys, check it out." They look over, and two of the chambers have already been broken through. These crystal chambers had them in a stasis, and they are now waking up. That's when the lead SEAL yells out, "All right, fellas, you know what time it is. On me." They hastily start swapping out the clips on their assault rifles. They've come prepared, as if they already knew what they were going to encounter. The rounds in these new magazines were something special. They weren't regular hollow point lead. They were actually made of pure copper, as the military and the Pentagon knew that pure copper is the only thing that kills these beasts. Using anything else is futile and will not hurt them. As they're finally getting locked and loaded, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they hear a cry. And no sooner do they turn around, one of the beasts flies from behind a megalith. It grabs one of the soldiers and slams him to the ground, killing him instantly. The second beast jumps from a ledge above, landing on another, squishing him to a pulp. "Fire, fire, fire!" They open up. The beasts run through the bullets as if they don't even touch them. The rest of the men scramble to take cover. They slide to cover and look back. They're gone. They move throughout the corridor swiftly and silently.
There's this very strange video circling the internet of what's supposed to be a very strange creature found frozen in Antarctica. I'm gonna show you guys this video. Pay very close attention.
Oh, we got something big right there. So let's see what it is. Oh, there is another air balloon. What? I can't understand. What is that thing? What the heck? Ah! This is a monster head!
What actually looks like some sort of humanoid creature can be seen in the video. I have no idea if this is some sort of alien humanoid creature or what the heck is this. But I found little information about this video. Check this out. This is really creepy.
I just cannot believe my eyes! Guys! Oh my gosh! That's a monster head! Look! That is his eyes! His giant mouth! That's his head! Or maybe there is a whole body of a monster right under this.
We're going to be diving down below in the ocean to look at the alien bases. What's really below there? The Marine Kingdom? Is that the Marine Kingdom? These aliens, these reptilians, draconians, who was under there? Who was under the water? And you can't tell me nobody. There's something there. Leviathan. Alright. Yo, we can go on what's under the water, okay? We know there's giants in Antarctica. And we know there's things down below the ocean. Let's discover what's down there.
They are not from outer space. They are not from another planet. They are not from another galaxy. They are from here, planet Earth. They have been here for millions of years. They live in the oceans. They have thousands of bases beneath all the seas throughout planet Earth. Their technology is millions of years more advanced than human technology. They are the first intelligent life to live on planet Earth. This is their planet, not our planet. It was never our planet. Many governments in the world know about this and keep it secret from the public. Since the 1930s, the United States military has retrieved multiple extraterrestrial spacecrafts that would also retrieve biological alien bodies.
No. What we call aliens are simply the civilizations living beyond the ice wall of Antarctica. It's not some distant galaxy or a sci-fi fantasy. It's Earth, right here, hidden in plain sight, but beyond what we're allowed to see. These advanced civilizations have technology so beyond our understanding that when their ships soar through the skies, we mistake them for extraterrestrial crafts. But they're not from space. They're from regions on this planet we've been kept from exploring. Why the lie? The oligarchs, the ones pulling the strings, want to keep us in fear of the unknown. Aliens, outer space, it's all a smokescreen. They don't want us asking questions about what's really out there. These civilizations are light years ahead of us in tech and knowledge. That's why the narrative is controlled. They don't want you to even imagine the idea that there's more to Earth than you've been told. But trust me, it's not aliens coming for us. It's advanced beings from right here, beyond the icy borders we're forbidden to cross.
Siberia, 1982. Russian Navy divers are conducting a research mission. 7 Russian divers are at a depth of 50 meters, when suddenly, the frogmen realize they are being watched.
These strange humanoid figures were much bigger than human beings. These were large beings, human shape, but like 9 feet tall, wearing what seemed like very tight-fitting silvery suits. Not your normal scuba gear, basically. Swimming in the water, what they've come to call the swimmers of Lake Baikal.
What were these creatures? Why did they not seem to use what we would be using to sustain life? There were no oxygen tanks. So there are lots of interesting facets to this. You have creatures that are underwater and surviving with technology that we don't comprehend.
The Russian divers then make a fateful decision. They try to capture one.
The divers attempted to capture one of these creatures, but at this point, so the documents say, the entities reacted.
A powerful, unknown force suddenly propels the entire group of divers up from the deep water to the surface.
They did a rapid rise to the surface of the water. Well, when you do that too fast, you suffer from decompression and you get the bends, and it's deadly. There were 7 of these divers, and 3 of them died. And 4 were very severely injured as a result of...
Underneath the ice in Antarctica could well be stone temple constructions, biological material.
August 2003, Naval Special Operations. We were inbound the southeast coast of Antarctica. We were dispatched to find a certain individual, obtain any information, and bring it back.
When he and his team reached their destination, they encountered a large octagonal structure protruding from the ice.
At the very top of the first structure that we entered, there was almost 18 feet poking from the ice. And even though these doors were that thick and that heavy, you could take one finger and push them and they would open. There was no resistance whatsoever. The outside temperature was at least 40 degrees below zero. Once you stepped inside these structures, the temperature was an ambient 68 to 72 degrees. It was lighted from the inside, but we could not find the source of light. It was a lime green in color. The walls were lined with what I call hieroglyphic, but nothing of hieroglyphic that I've ever seen in my life.
Could be the greatest reveal in all of human history.
The triangle holds some of the world's deepest waters, with the Gulf of Alaska reaching down to depths of an incredible 26,000 feet. Could this be a perfect hiding place for a secret underwater alien base?
There's definitely underwater UFO activity that's been reported over the last 4 decades. These UFOs have been tracked underwater and stayed underwater for a long time, evaded the Navy, and they go so deep that we don't know where they're going. I am very convinced that there's some kind of base underwater.
UFO researcher Johnny Enoch has been looking at the evidence.
According to my sources, there are extraterrestrial bases under the water off the coast of Alaska. Alaska's the perfect place for extraterrestrials to set up underwater bases. I mean, you have 33,000 miles of untapped coast and over 3 million lakes. I mean, where better a place to set up shop?
I've been researching through, and there's a number of reports I find of discs coming out of the ocean near Alaska. This particular report happened all the way back in the summer of 1945.
An Army transporter ship, U.S. Delaroth, was heading past Adak, one of the Aleutian Islands, in the southwest corner of Alaska. Suddenly, one of the crew was said to have spotted ripples in the water just a mile from their vessel.
In this report from one of the crew members, he stated that he turned and saw a large round object which just emerged from the sea.
They witnessed a UFO come up out of the water that was 150 to 200 feet wide. And it started circling the boat and making everyone feel rather uneasy.
1945, that could be quite startling to see a 150, 250 foot circular object come out of the ocean. Totally quiet. It was on its own propulsion system, wasn't affected by the wind, the sailors said.
This mysterious, unidentified flying object was said to be in range of the ship's guns, but the crew held their fire for fear of provoking an attack.
It circled around the ship 2 or 3 times until it took off, leaving everyone mesmerized.
So where's Scully when you need her? The truth is out there. Aliens are legit, people. They're in Appalachia. They're under the water. They're in the mountains. Yo. And they're in underground bases. And they have pacts with our governments. Tinfoil hat, yes.
You are?
you better start paying attention because they've been putting it in plain sight for decades. You see, not only do they mock it in their mockumentary movies, but they've been putting it right under your nose in commercials for kids. Commercials that not only mock us for how dumb they think we are, but commercials that literally tell us how they are trying to numb us from caring about figuring it out. And by the way, they consider us the cavity creeps.
As evening approaches Toothopolis, so do the cavity creeps.
Oh no! Cavity creeps!
Hurry, the crest's
I
up.
mean, I just had to point this out. Come on. Come on.
Cavity creeps spotted!
We make holes in teeth. We make holes in teeth.
Christmas Florence candles fix them!
Not crest!
Yay, Crest!
Watch treats
See your dentist!
and fight the cavity creeps like the crest team.
Fight cavities with Crest!
It's funny, have you ever seen what happens to people who go too far south towards Antarctica? A Navy ship. Funny, kind of looks like a Navy ship or submarine to me, but they're not shooting bullets.
You know they always have to tell us. Or do they? Or they just mock us because they think we're stupid. Come on, that was plain as day, right? Y'all saw that. That's subliminal messaging. It's in movies. It's in our industry. Hollyweird. So crazy. We're going to do a deep dive on Hollyweird soon. I got so much more coming for this channel. Alright? I appreciate y'all coming from High Frequency Chaos. I'm curious. Did you guys find this channel because it popped up in your algo? Or did you hear about it from HFC? If there's any subjects that you would like to know, let me know in the comments. I'll write them down. I got some of them that you requested that I have on the list coming to Stranger Chaos. So with that being said, see you in the next episode of Stranger Chaos. Peace!